Hello everyone, I think we're settled, maybe we can get started slowly. So my name is Faruk Aydın, I am Chief Revenue Officer at Repanda Group, and I'm joined by today the panelist here, as you can see, Juicy. Juicy is Business Development Manager at GLI Europe, and we have got Vita Usatyuk, Sales Executive at Bloodfresh, and Mr. Alan Brown, Creative Strategist, Author and Advisor. So we're going to talk about three main topics today: branding, certification, and customer-centric approach for innovation, and we're going to fill all the gaps in between. So before I get started with the questions that I'm very curious about, I'd like to actually have a quick round of self-introduction. Maybe, Juicy, we can start with you. Can you briefly tell about yourself and what you do?
Yes, so as you said, my name is Juicy Campo. I work for GLI Gaming Labs. I'm the business development manager for them, so looking for new customers globally for GLI. I've been in the industry for 15 years now, and 7 years with GLI. Thank you.
Yeah, hi everyone, my name is Vita and I am Sales Executive in CloudFresh company. Our company is a partner of Zendesk. Zendesk is a solution for the customer support, and my role is helping the customer to build an excellent customer experience for their own clients and help them to provide the best customer experience.
Hello, my name is Alan Brown. I think I introduced more of myself, a little bit of history as well. So in the last year I was building under the owner of Pragmatic Play, I was building a B2C arm. So I had like 25 countries, a marketing team in every country. And I started actually at the beginning of the brand of Pragmatic and the work with owners. But I started as affiliate 25 years ago. And here was the email and deliverability. And it was a long time in everything, traffic and marketing, many years.
Amazing. Along, we actually share a common career path with you. I also worked a lot in email, deliverability, marketing automation. We'll get to that. So, Juicy, I would like to start with you. As you can see, we are all after lunch, and you may see some faces a little bit down. You bring us some Sicilian energy, so let's go for it. So look, there's a debate. Maybe most of you also agree with me. Some people say that certification is just for some regulatory reasons. Let's get this done and move forward. And some people say, yeah, it is very important to build the trust among the players. So I would like to ask you, do players really care about the certification and how it affects the player trust and retention?
Yeah, that's a very good question, Faruk. The certification debate is a nuanced topic in the gaming industry. On one hand, people see certifications only as a mandatory step to meet, but on the other hand, the players do actually care about the certification process. When a player logging into an operator website, the first thing that they look at are not the games or the platform. They always look if the platform is certified, especially if they play on the regulated market. So definitely honing a certification definitely will also give a lot of value to the platform and also the games that they own. And players always want to feel secure on the environment they always play. So owning a valid certification from a test lab definitely will also enhance retention of the players. So if the player feels secure, they will always go back to the same platform and play with those games.
Mm-hmm. Sounds great. By the way, if you agree, disagree, you want to say something, feel free to fire yourself.
Yeah, I want to say that managing different countries in the world, I can say that some countries, and there are many of them, don't trust their own government. They don't trust the certification. So seeing the certificate on the site just actually reduce the conversion in certain countries. I don't want to name it. But this this is a reality. So it's not necessarily, in a regulated market I agree, but in an unregulated market, which is most of the world.
That's okay, but how many not
can
regulated
reduce.
markets are there nowadays in 2025? Most of them have been regulated. Look at Brazil as well.
I think most of the money exists in unregulated.
Yeah, there are still many, but both regulated and non-regulated. They also in the not regulated market, some of the regulators also want to make sure that the platform and the games, they own a kind of certification where they went to at least a sanity check.
It's probably like a kind of a preference of the operator, let's call it this way, but we strongly encourage everything to be done in line with the compliance and everything, right? So that's the main thing. But cultural nuances and adoption in the market and so on, that's also another point for sure. I would like to continue with you, Vita. We are talking about retention here, and maybe we have some operators here today, I don't know, but we often talk about acquisition, right? So retention is always like kind of in the second plan, especially in the initial conversations we have. But retention plays a key role in the, let's say, keeping the revenues up all the time. So we see that right now in our gaming industry, customer support is no longer kind of a reactive department. It is becoming a little bit more like proactive department for the player experience. So can you maybe talk about this a little bit and tell us this evolution and how you see it from your point of view?
Yeah, thank you very much for the question. I agree for 100% that previously we looked to the customer support as some not value generated, yet just a department for which is necessary and for which we are just spending money. But it's no more like this, and what we see for now that it's switching from the reactive to proactive. So to keep our customers, like clients in the gaming industry, engaged, we need to predict a bit in advance what these customers will need, what issues they will face with. And here, the main features which we can use, key instruments, it's first of all, we need to have the data about what was the previous reasons why the customer contacted with us. We, based on this data, then can do some steps and actions. The second one, also it's important sometimes to be more proactive and help for the players while they are in the game, and maybe provide for them some tips or at least be very close to them. And the third one, maybe also to provide the ability of the self-service as well for them to be able to find answers by themselves and before contacting with, let's say, live agents.
Absolutely, that's a very good point. And I'd like to jump to you, Alan. You have something to say.
So I think that customer support, it's something that, if you're an entrepreneur, let's say it's an online operator or provider or whatever, so very rarely I see that somebody has the eyes into the log file and into the customer support, let's say, backlog. The visibility into that, you need to computerize and find a way to solve this problem. But you need to give the eyes of the owners need to look into the customer support, because from this place you can innovate and you can create ideas and you make changes and you pivot, especially pivot when the customer support is something is catastrophe. You know to pivot, you want to change the product, you want to adapt the market. So I think this layer of, say, let's say, BI system on over the customer support for the managers is very important.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And I can agree that also to keep the good relationship with the customers, to make it not as I can say as a bot, but to make it human-like, personalized, it's also important.
It is important, but not easy to do it at a scale. So this is something else that I'm very curious, and I made my notes. Alan, I'd like to continue with you, especially about the branding part of it. Yes, so we talk about trust building with the certification, we talk about retention with support of the customer service, but it is actually the branding which really attracts the players, right? So you have huge experience in creative strategy space, and it is not only a visual identity, but there are a lot of different factors in branding. So how do you think that strong branding can influence not only acquisition process, but the long-term success for our brands?
I will say like this: when you look to make a brand, when you're choosing a name for the company, you need to look at 4 areas. There are 4 areas. One, you need to look at yourself, your relation with the brand. You want it to be meaningful for you. You want something that is really meaningful for you. And I can talk about the name Pragmatic because I was involved in creation of that. So the name itself means something. So it's a value, the person that have come with it, it's something internal to him that they mean, reason. It's a way to make decision. It's an order, it's like our value. So we have some value, so it's something very profound with relation to the meaning to the person. Second is the meaning for the team. So you want the brand to mean something to the team. And a good brand have an impact of what is our culture. So for example, when I say Pragmatic, it means something. It's telling people like how we do things, a little bit. It's a hinting on how we do things. It can be, lovable. We see them today also. It means something. There is something. It can be a value of person. It can be some idea, or even like a son name. I saw brands like some child died, and it was the name of the child hidden in the word. But it's sometimes something that is important that everybody knows that we stand for something. So the brand is very important to what we stand for. The third one is the technology and system. Technology and system. We saw before SEO, so the brand is very important for the SEO as well. If we make all deliverability, we can talk about even deliverability. When I call the operation, the name, casino slot, I'm not sure it will succeed very well in bypassing filters for email marketing or being blacklisted everywhere. So the names, it needs to be something more generic that will pass, like the system restriction of whatever censorship or blacklisting exists. So especially in iGaming. The fourth one is for the customer. So this is the obvious one we think about. Usually we think about, what the customer will think. But we have to take the 3 things into consideration, the 4th thing into consideration, not only the end customer.
But it's not only, as you say, about the brand name. You also, like in our conversation, like in the breaks, you also told me about visuals, like the colors, the meanings of them. So maybe you can tell us more about that part a little bit.
I'm not sure I want to get into the colors.
Okay.
No, I think that answer for that, I can answer for any answer like that. Ask ChatGPT. I think it's like the recommendation of the wheel colors, and that ChatGPT will give the answer for what color you should make. Let's say safety, you want more blue, or you want more entertainment, it's like orange. So it's go. Okay. Theory of chakra system you can look at. You can look at theory of colors. There's no definition here.
Sure, we'll look at ChatGPT. Juicy, let's go ahead and maybe talk about the branding part a little bit with you, especially the trust building part, because when you were talking about the certification, we talk about the players, but in the market we also have other partners, like B2B partners, for example. So if you are a trusted brand, it will be easy for you to have new affiliate companies to work with you. Or you can find some payment companies or banks to work with you because you are compliant, right? So from that point of view, how do you think that certification can be a competitive advantage for brands?
Yeah, well, you are absolutely right. Branding is a crucial topic for operators. And merging the certification process into the branding of the company is a very smart strategic thing to do, in my personal opinion, because when a player goes into an operator's website and starts playing, they want to feel secure. So promoting that they are certified definitely would make feel more comfortable the player. And so merging and including on the branding of the website, also the certification process is a very good thing to do. And also will build the trust with the player, also educate stakeholders, because everyone should be educated on the regulations and the requirements that they have to meet in order to be compliant. And definitely having a good relationship with your test lab is also a strategic thing to do, because you're always updated in all the regulations and all the maybe changes on the requirement for the market. So definitely having and put together all these strategic things into the branding of the operators, then will make also easier also, attracting players into your website.
That's for sure, and I want to follow up on the process you mentioned, because I see sometimes brands are a little bit too late, even it affects their product launch timing. So when is the best time to go with the certification of all this and so on?
Yesterday.
Yesterday.
No, I truly think that as soon as, in this case, a B2B start developing their own products, that could be an RNG, a game, a platform, and the operators start getting involved, since the first day they should be involved and informed about the certification process, because this will definitely make things easier on allocating resources into the certification process, making the product compliant for those specific technical requirements. So definitely will avoid a lot of roadblocks at the end. Mm-hmm. So having a good understanding of the regulations of the market that operators want to work, this will make things easier for everyone, also for the tech people. Sometimes people focus on branding and how websites should look at, and not what actually they should care most, which is the requirements and how to make a product compliance.
Anything to add here from your side? Yes. Oh, yeah.
Sure.
Let's say that we have got branding, retention in place, and also trust, everything is just done with the certificate and so on. But we also know there's another obstacle, especially, I would say, again, we can put it on the retention part. The customer support, like when we have those very high volumes of requests coming in, right? So it could be a new game release, it could be a regulation change versus bonuses and so on. So in these kind of times, you may have a lot of requests coming in. I was wondering about your recommendations on managing these high volumes at the support line, and how would you prioritize them? Are there any technologies, tools, or maybe some tactics you want to give to us?
Yes, exactly. I can say that even the greatest team, they can be overwhelmed when you have a big load-in and when you have a big amount of the requests, and you can have on board the best people, but they just will not be able to provide it quickly. And it's very important, specifically to this industry, to provide quality answers and to provide it quickly. And you shouldn't lose any of these components. So from our side, what we recommend is, first of all, not to be scared to use some AI functionality, some AI chats. It's possibility at least to give for the AI possibility to solve some simple or repetitive questions also, and provide for your agent's ability to work with more complicated questions, or with somewhere where compliance needed, like more complex, I can say. The second one is also to provide the ability for the agents to be more productive. So in this case, our solution here is a desk, and we are helping to implement it for our customers, help again to work with more repetitive questions, to specifically guide the gamers to that group of people, team members or person who can help them with this request. Provide the ability of the self-service, because again, if the customer can find the answer by themselves, it takes this loading from the live agents, let's say. And it's important also the part with the workforce management. So again, when you know that you will have that you can have some spikes and big amount of the request, you can plan additional resources. So just in this case, it will help you to plan that amount of team which you will need during this period of time. So it's what I would recommend.
So there are like both technology and that human part of this job can be achieved. I would turn to, if you don't mind, like you have worked in international companies, you are also into technology a lot. Maybe you have something to add.
Yeah. I think this prioritization is a fascinating problem. And when you have any operation, you know, when you optimize this prioritization of customer support, of sales, of leads, or clicks, so there are backlog of items in the backlog for dev. So we have so many, or personal tasks, so we have many backlogs, and how we prioritize that, that's like absolute necessary important question. Now, I give you direction how I answer that, and with the years, and I optimize many backlogs and prioritize and work on this problem. So I think the direction for me, this is how I look. There is a math called AHP. If you want to write, it's AHP, and you can give to ChatGPT again. But you can look at a list of things, and you can extrapolate. And you can do it also with pen and paper. You don't need the ChatGPT, but you can extrapolate the values. So what is the most important from the list of, let's say, customer requests? You understand like what is the most important value that you hold that's important for you to look into and how you prioritize. And eventually you will get some kind of formula with weights for the values. So extrapolating this equation basically, and optimizing this equation ongoing, this is something you can do all over your backlogs. And if you manage to control this process, which I think it requires a lot. It's not require only, it requires emotional intelligence, and it requires math. But if you manage this process all over the company, the different backlogs, you optimize and you increase revenue a lot. You can increase everywhere. There will be 20% here, 20% here, and in the end, you know, you just grow. And this is what is making the growth, the right prioritization of your loads.
You were talking about backlogs, and you actually brought the topic on my mind about agile methodology, and I'd like to continue with you. So fast delivery is important in our industry as well. If you first you implement and you win the game, so the same thing with the customer support timing, of course. But I want to talk specifically about agile methodology in marketing, because we all probably have here departments, especially IT departments, working with agile methodology, like scrums and so on. But I really don't see this very often in marketing departments. So I'd like to ask you, like, what tips would you give to marketing departments to start with agile methodology, and what benefits they would get from that?
First, I want to say that I published everything I'm saying now. I published a book, and it's on Amazon. And all my answers are also from the book. So if somebody wants to dig on more, then I already gave the answers, especially on the subject of Agile. And Agile, my book was recommended by Jeff Sutherland, which is the father of Agile. And he looked at the framework, and I have a nice video on my site recommending it. And so with regards to
marketing.
A little bit, I continue with more. I will invite you to other things soon. Okay, so Agile, okay, I think nobody knows. I tell you why. You need to find, there is one thing very popular today in Agile marketing, it's called squads. So if you don't hear the name squads, it's meaning they don't know nothing about Agile marketing. So nobody here ever, I never hear here, nobody is the word squad. But if you listen to Spotify, I don't know if you guys listen to Spotify, sometimes they make advertising on Spotify about themselves, and they say the word squad. So it's very important, and they publish all the Agile framework. So they have an Agile framework, how they operate the team of Spotify. And this is like the best methodology known now, and they build it in a certain way. There is a certain names for things, and they set the processes, and I think it's very nice and good to learn this. You know, framework are very important. So people done things, they already figure things out. You just can learn. You know, you have a problem, you find the framework. It can be in security, it can be in marketing, it can be development. But people, you know, people struggle already before you. I will just recommend the Spotify Agile methodology as a general way to start into building these teams.
They also have something called tribes.
Yeah, tribes.
Yeah, that's also very
squads.
fascinating. So
Exactly.
you pick one person from each functional department and you create like small teams. And they actually, like in the same company, you have little companies acting people from different departments. That's also very fascinating for me.
Yeah. I agree. I think learning the subject of Agile will give you, first of all, you will start to, there are values you can incorporate in the company of speed, of autonomy, of decision making, down the organization, of transparency, of the speed that we do things. So the core values, if you integrate that, I don't know, just for me, I see it increase everything. Now, in some cultures already, they are very oriented into Agile, I must say. So I feel that direction, when you go into the direction of India and the devs that are happening in India, I think they are very educated on Agile methodologies. In a way that I don't see that, let's say, Europe or East Europe, which is very strong now in Agile as well, but they are still not embedded into the culture that we give a person autonomy, for example. So people take responsibility and we trust them to take responsibility, but this can also be related to situation of wars around the world. In some places are more safe, so people think about, in the future, when they're building things. So some people in some countries, they work for tomorrow because they don't know what will come. So it's also very related to the culture of the situation of the country itself.
Yeah, I used to work at Legend, the company who produced Jira and so on, right? So I met some engineers, they don't use Agile only at work, they use it in their personal life. There was a guy who was planning his wedding, like the whole framework, everything was in place. Like I was just like super shocked. So yeah, that's something that I will never forget. I'll do a very sharp turn to you from Alon. And in iGaming industry, it is like super dynamic. Everything is changing. Player behavior is changing. Regulations are changing. And we talk about the certification at the beginning to build the trust. But on the other hand, I think there will be an initial certification, but also you need to somehow keep this going on, right? So would you recommend us like what to do to stay in line with the updated certifications, the new ones, and so on, to have everything compliant?
Correct. There is the initial certification process, and then some markets they require the annual recertifications. But in order, in my opinion, a good practice of being all the time ongoing compliance is making regular sanity check of the product that you own on your platform. And then having also good compliance department will make things easier for you and for the founders sleep also well, so they don't risk to lose their license. And also having a good relationship with your test lab is also it plays a crucial role on it, because having a good relationship with your test lab, then they will always give you update on the regulations. So if you follow all these steps, then you can definitely have ongoing compliance with your product.
Alright, so the compliance department should keep an eye on it and always check in with the company who is doing the certifications and so on in that particular market they operate. Okay. Then I will jump to Rita. You remember you were talking about the personalization, and I was like a little bit, not really agreeing with delivering those personalized customer support responses at scale. So maybe you have some better ideas, maybe I can learn something from you. Can you suggest how maybe AI can help with that?
Yeah, for sure. I can say that thanks now for the technologies of the AI, first of all, we can see, let's say, 360 overview of the customer. So basically, first of all, AI can help us with understanding the sentiment of the customer. Is his request neutral, positive, or negative. If it's negative, most probably we would put higher SLA, or we would guide this customer to some particular group of the people or more experienced team member who can solve their request faster. The second one also, we can, with the help of AI, identify the intent. So basically, why customer contacted with us, what is his problem. And based on it, we can provide for him immediately maybe some quick answer if it's possible, or if not, to guide him to the specific group of people who can do it. So provide this also personalization. And the third one, probably with the help of the omni-channel experience, was providing the ability to contact with the companies through different channels. Basically, our customers, gamers, they can contact with us via chat in a game, via social media, some messengers, and for the agents, we can provide this overview of whole history, which is was with this customer, so our agents know about it. And the last one, I promise, especially with some complicated tickets where a lot of team members involved, and when we have a long conversation, sometimes it's hard to understand what was the context, and you need to go through a lot of messages. And AI can help to summarize, so to give us the main context, what happened, what actions we did, so what should be the next step. So here I can say that I would like to recommend for all the industry to use this AI possibilities, because it can help, first of all, save the time and provide for your gamers and customers better customer experience.
Apparently, there will not be any panel discussion or any, let's say, keynote anymore without AI. I have a joke, guys. I am running a podcast called Repanda Live, and with my guest right now, like I see some comments, at which minute we will say the term AI. So everyone is like guessing, because now we are living in a world like everybody is thrilled, you know, everything is fast-moving world of something, right? So even the concepts that we use is changing right now. So thank you for the explanation. And also, Alon was telling about the cultural nuances. In some countries, let's say like in Latin countries or in Asia, mobile is mostly used. And when you look at Europe, it's more like omnichannel beta, right? Like the support request probably coming to you from desktop, from mobile, like tablets or even streaming platforms. So you see this cultural differences, like in the brands that you work, like let's say in Asia you have higher numbers of mobile devices, you know, people holding mobile devices reaching you, and in Europe it is different. How do you see the?
I can see that now, according to the customer trends, more and more people, they would like to contact with the company through their channels through which they usually communicate with their friends and family. That's why quite often a lot of companies, they are trying to add some messengers like WhatsApp, Line, some, I can say even regional messengers, like, I don't know, in some countries Telegram, Viber, again, Line in some countries more popular, WeChat, some customers like Apple Business Messenger, in some countries it's less. That's why it's important, from my point of view, for the different countries where you are located to provide the channels which is comfortable for using for the audience in this country.
I see. Thank you, Rita. Oh, I'd like to come back to your book, because in your book you.
Thank you.
You have it is on Amazon. So, in your book, when we were talking about it, you mentioned about integral philosophy, and you put like 4 pillars in the book, and you said it can be applicable for iGaming brands as well.
Yeah, this is what I mentioned about the brand.
Absolutely. Yeah, maybe you can tell more about it to us right now.
Yeah. So there are 4 dimensions that I mentioned before when you're making a brand yourself. So every one of us, this is integral philosophy. Each one of us is like can have different perspective on himself. So you can be yourself, but you're always part of a group. So there is always this dimension of yourself. You're part of something. Everybody are part of something. Part of family, part of country. There is some group, you're part of a team. And so and there are things that are happening within you and within the team in the internal perspective. So meaning you can have, your thoughts or and the team culture. This is internal to the team. This is the dimension of internal. And then the dimension of external, which is also divided to singular and collective. So, and then that I mentioned, like the user, or the customer, or the stranger, or this kind of entity, or the market. This kind of entity, this is a singular external. And then there is the collective external, it's the systems that we build. So the things that we build around us, procedures, and the building, and everything that we actually, so this dimension of us. So it's all dimension of us, and we can look at this in different perspective on who we are. Because if we say, for example, what is, let's say, Amazon, what is Amazon? Amazon can be, for somebody, it can be something very personal and some relation on this way, but it can also be the company, actually, your work very part of, so it can be the stock, it can be what is Amazon? So you look at it from this four perspective. It could be the system of Amazon, it's actually a shop, or online shop, so, or technology, or cloud today. But for the word itself and the entity itself always have a few dimensions. So when you don't notice, and sometimes we're not practiced to see ourselves, for example, the way that we relate to work with people. So sometimes we have blind spot on one of the dimensions, and because we just used to something else. We're not, for example, not used to look at your own feeling or your own thinking, for example, your internal, so you just create habits with relation to these four dimensions. And this can be a bottleneck. So if you don't notice and good enough some awareness in this part of yourself, you create bottleneck in the operation, especially when you're an entrepreneur. So you just neglect something. You never build a team. So this is very, very common. You start an entrepreneur, you make an idea, you never make a team. Because you're not noticing that this is essential. So this is the team itself is something that's essential of the thing that you're building and who you are. And so there's a bottleneck there. And sometimes you say, I don't have money, so I cannot build a team. You can always build a team. There is no excuses for operating in these four dimensions. You can always, you're already part of a team. You already have your family and your close friends, and sometimes it's a revenue share deal with partner that you create. You create a business with 6 partners, everybody on revenue share, everybody with equity, and nobody put money, but you all put work. So you can always make things, and you can always progress into these dimensions. And there is some kind of order. I put in the book some kind of order and 8 steps that you go through them, which is, I can describe the 8 steps now. But the last step, so it's something with the idea, and in the end one, it's a customer and the feedback. So the feedback is an essential step. You always want to look at the feedback, and this is agile. Agile, you always want to look at the feedback. And when you're making, and this is, it took me some time to learn this, but if you want to move a decision down the organization, actually make the organization bigger, you need to have like some anchor, and the anchor is the feedback. So when the company sees the feedback of the customer, it's no longer that you need to like micromanage the company because you have some kind of a mechanism that's operating. So the customer comes, and the customer is most important, and then the team know, this is what is most important, because the customer is more important. They can operate themselves. They don't need your micromanagement. And so this feedback is essential. And today we see a lot of rise also in the feedback, especially in healthcare. We have precision medicine, and we have like a lot of innovation happening to the individual customer, and we spoke about that. I guess that one day each one will have his own casino, and each one have his own games, and this game will be created by AI. So this personalization is coming. That everything is actually created live in front of us, entertainment, which in the end we have the matrix. But this is where it's coming to the personalization, the video that we get and the entertainment that we get.
Absolutely. Let's leave people something to read on the book, maybe.
No, I want to add also.
All the spoilers.
First of all, there's also an online course, and you can go to Udemy, and we have like 10 hours of lectures, and I have a guy there he was working for Tony Robbins for 20 years, and he's lecturing the material. And we also I created something called Gaming Fellowship, which we invite everybody here, which will be, you know, with the methodology of the book and the different areas, we look together and we try to optimize your own decision making and operation, and perhaps make like something unique in the, you know, in the gaming. I like to make something more, you know, I feel here, you know, this was a very small conference, but it was very personal. It was very wonderful to be here. I must say, you know, you go to the big conference, you meet people, you suddenly connect with some people. You can come here with people that friends for many years, you know, when attending something like that. So if you take it, and I try to make something called the Gaming Fellowship, where we all like be in a room and we meet each other often, like before every conference, and we actually learn to each one problems, and we learn to solve it, and we look at it and we share. And I believe it can be a lot of, can bring a lot of innovation and you know, growth for everybody that will attend. So this is with regard to the Gaming Fellowship.
You want to take a break while I'm asking maybe something else? So I would like to have the answer briefly if possible. So each of you have separate professions. You can maybe talk about the certification part or the compliance. Are there any trends or any shifts that you see in your particular field that operators should be looking at in the future?
As a branding?
It could be, branding and certification relationship. You were talking about building the trust, for instance, earlier.
Yes, so definitely the best way to build trust in general with players is, as I said before, if you make a secure environment for the players, definitely this will build trust with the player. Mm-hmm. And retention. This is a good way to merging this into the branding process. And then I'm not definitely not very good in the branding part, but I believe that having a good platform, responsive platform, good customer support, this would make a difference over the retention of the player.
Then let's move to customer support. So Vita, can you tell us about any trends that you see right now, any shifts, market shifts you see right now in your particular field of customer support?
Yeah, so with trends with AI, what I mentioned before, so it simplified the process, and a lot of teams, they are trying to use it, and also with the help of AI, the players, the customers, they can receive answers quicker. That's why it's easier for them. It's trend number one. The second one, what we discussed, is this like personalization, and it's important to give for the customer feeling that their problem will be first of all solved. That is not just, I don't know, ping pong and automatic replies, which is not solving the issue of the customer, and provide this support timely, quickly. And the last one, from my point of view, it's possibility to give for the players ability to contact with the customer, with the company through that channels which is comfortable for them.
Amazing, thank you. Alo, you want to continue with branding and marketing, right?
No, I want to talk about this subject of the trust with the player. I want to talk about the trust with the player. Especially because there are people here that can make actually a difference in the world if they're here. You know, we have from the Philippines here, that maybe that make a change, that they can be like, they can find how to help the customers. So I will take the opportunity to say what in my mind on that. I do believe that we are gamblers. We are all gamblers. So first of all, we should not separate ourselves from gamblers. So we are gamblers. So in living and as business and everything, we gamble. So our decisions that we don't know the consequences, we don't know the future. And all the time we need to make decisions with our children, with our work, with the car we buy. So we're gambling all day long. Now, for ourselves, what do we want for ourselves? We want to be the best gamblers. We want to be professional gamblers. When we make decisions on something that we decide to invest in, somebody to marry, or somebody or school to send the children, we want to make the best decision. And if we learn with ourselves how to gamble the best, like I don't know, whatever it means. Whatever it means, can be in a mathematical way, it can be in a value way, it can be different ways that we like to approach it. But our goal is to educate the gamblers to be professional gamblers. So if they gamble, our goal is to help them to be the most professional gambler that they can. So, and this is already taking, when we do that, so we see that maybe budget for, putting a cap on your gamble is important. And we do that not because we have to do that, and not because the regulation wants us to do that, because that's the best way to go. That is the most rational way to gamble. So we want to teach them to be professional gamblers, and that will need to be, that I believe, the attitude that the iGaming company should take, and not separating yourself from even the word gambler. I don't feel comfortable with that, because there is some judgment that we all use in the gambling industry to say, like, as a gambler. Gambler is actually not me. It's not correct. They're all people. There is no gamblers. There's no players. And if there is, we are as well. We are gamblers, players as well. And I think whatever we do for ourselves, we should do for our audience. So this is like that's the main rule. And so I think if we keep in mind that what we want is for the best, it's a training place for them to play in our side, for example. It's a place to practice the gambling. Let's see them in very isolated environment, which is much easier than buying a car. I must say, to make a decision of is a slot to play is much easier than buying a car. Still, we can do a best decision over there, and it's a playground. And if we give them the support, and you don't see that, you go to site, do you see become a professional gambler and actually give them the material? I do not see that. The real material, really how to help them. It's like some tricks everywhere, it's some hacks, and this is a result of a judgment of the player. That we are not actually a player, and the player is an object. We objectify people. As an industry, we objectify the player. And I think that that's a mistake we do when we're building a responsible gaming.
And I want to add on top of that, actually regulators, they see the same way, the operators. So sometimes you see regulators are like, they don't really know the operations, what's going on, how players are behaving, yeah? And then they just maybe sometimes assume things. So that's why the communication between all the market components should be super clear and even more frequent, in my opinion. We're almost hitting our time, but I am very curious about one thing. Alon, you and I, we share a common, career path. It's like email marketing, availability. And some people, maybe you may agree with me or not, some people think that email is dead. Some people say email is like amazing, ROI is super high, and so on. And you are somebody in the email marketing, email deliverability for like a couple of decades already. Yeah. Can you tell us, first, is email, is it dead? Do you believe that?
No.
Secondly, okay, yeah. Second is like...
It's a channel.
Yeah, absolutely. And maybe you can also talk about deliverability a little bit in iGaming, because when you have a casino, when you have a crypto and other kind of power words, you actually risk to get to the inbox. And what they should do then? Maybe you can suggest something to operators.
Again, ask the question.
Yeah, how would you recommend operators, for better email deliverability?
Better email deliverability for operators. Let me think on this answer.
Do you own sorry?
I will start and say. First, we have the measurement. First, you know what you're doing. Let's start with that. So first of all, they don't know what's happening. Usually they have no clue what's happening. So email deliverability, it's a parameter, it's like going to the doctor. You need to go to the doctor to check what you have. They don't know. So sometime, and this was in the beginning of the industry, so 20 years ago, so I come from a background in the Israeli army, and I was doing the email, let's say, communication. And I took that into the game. And I saw, I come to the conference, and I see, and I check, and I see that the email deliverability is very low. And they have no idea. They don't know what it is. They never thought about it. And over there, in that 25 years ago, it was like, all the communication channel was email, besides phone call. So besides phone call, all communication channels, there was no Facebook, there was no Telegram, there was only email. So email was, let's say, 80% of you make a change in deliverability, you have ROI of all operation. So it's a tweak, so it's like, you go to to the doctor, to the, I don't know, to the operation room, and you make a small thing and everything grows. And with the years it's declining because the market share of the inbox, of the email is, we have all the WhatsApp, we're checking this, so the time, we check the Facebook, the Instagram, so we have the internal communication of the company, which also taking a lot of the time. So we have, so the email is a little bit shrinking. And it's dominating by mainly Google. So if back in the days, AOL was important, this is before, this is like 30 years ago when the US market was open. AOL was very important. Then Yahoo, and so they are disappearing. In some markets, Germany, they are still, we have WebDE, GMX, and they're existing, but Google is like, so the algorithms of running in Google is the most important right now, and bypassing this algorithm for the company, bypassing or understanding what this algorithm wants, and I will say, I don't know whether, it's very similar to the SEO. So if you think about it, what is email for Google to see, when you get the email, you see where you get it from. And, Google is Google. You can Google the domain in 2 seconds and block your domain because he knows already what is this domain and reputation and everything, because it's Google. So ranking, SEO, and email are very related. Yeah. They're very related. So passing the email is very similar. So I do think that your SEO effort will help developability. So because it's always Google. So
domain authority especially.
Yeah, domain authority, and that are very important for email and the volume that is allowed to send from your specific domain. And like a general rule, I will say, look at the SEO and learn from that to the email. But there will be, let's say, black hat. And I think we can talk openly on black hat. It's not hacking. So you can always do these black hat techniques that opening many accounts and using their reputation will enhance a lot. If you send from it's like account maybe, will be very productive. Because it will be a much higher percentage of inbox rate if you don't manage your own domain reputation well. And you never do. Yeah. Never do it well. People never do it well.
So you recommend a holistic approach. So it's not only email, like don't focus on the email part or the IPs and so on. Look at it from a broader version. So look at the, let's say, SEO, your reputation of the domain, and how much people spend time on your website and so on. There are so many things affecting the email deliverability as well. And thanks for suggesting the other marketing channels. It should be a very good blend of everything, not only a single thing. So if you have anything else to add, maybe I can ask you. Otherwise, I'd like to switch to our audience and reflect to them. Maybe you have some questions for us today. We try to bring everything together, like certification, branding, and also customer support. Anybody here maybe have a question? Go ahead.
Juicy. I thought about what you said during our panel. For anyone who wasn't there, that it's important to kind of include the certification part in the branding of the games somehow. And I would like to ask you how, in this context, how do you relate to Probably Fair? You know Probably Fair? The thing that is on stake.com that people see the Probably Fair sign and they think that this is by definition random, fair, right? So how do you compete with that as a lab? Because you need to compete with that in order for the people to respect your sign more than the Probably Fair sign. What would be your answer to the new generation of players? Because I somehow think that Probably Fair is the big factor in the reason why stake and all the other cryptos related stuff is so popular.
Tough question.
Yeah, these are very tough questions, and I would let my co-host to reply, but I will try to reply in the best way here. Definitely, we should put into consideration this duality. From a certification, from a testing lab point of view, how we can help our clients. that can be B2B or B2C is by displaying their certification on the website, and can be on the B2C side, on the operator side, and listing there all the products that they are publishing on the website. So it can be the RNG certification, the game certification, and the platform certification, both functionality testing and security testing, because depending on the requirement, you have to be compliant in both functionality testing and security testing. And not everyone has a knowledge of that. So I'm not sure if the other fair one will display that the platform is fully compliant and
Secure.
having all the check off list of all the requirements. Definitely, as a testing lab and displaying certifications, over there's actually listing all the requirements in order to be compliant with the regulated market. So I would say that the report that we will display is very complete of all requirements, the regulations that you have the website have. So I will take this into internally with GLI and will underline this.
I guess this
It's a
can
good
go
comment.
together. This can go together, but maybe there is space for some better branding, like for example of what you do to have this product actually fair and secure, because probably fair doesn't refer to the security part, right? Yeah.
Totally agree with you. This is a very good topic, actually. Thank you.
Thank you for the answer. And we can take one last question. We have like 2 more minutes. Anybody here would like to ask anything? All right. I think that's all. I would like to thank you, our panelists, Suzy, Rita, Alon. Thank you so much. Please find us outside also if you want to continue the conversation over there. I hope you have at least one takeaway to apply at your business after hearing us, and have a lovely rest of the show. I'll see you tonight at the goodbye party. Cheers.